The G20 consists of 19 countries plus the European Union and now the African Union. As the G20 presidency, South Africa invited 16 guest countries to participate in the G20 discussions, including especially a number of African countries and Africa's regional economic communities and financial institutions. All G20 members attended all the G20 related meetings throughout the year, except for one member country. It is regrettable that the United States of America, which is a founding member of the G20 and which takes over the presidency of the G20 from South Africa in 2026, chose not to participate in the G20 Leaders Summit and the final meetings leading up to that summit. It is even more unfortunate that the reasons the United States gave for its non-participation were based on baseless and false allegations that South Africa is perpetrating genocide against Afrikaners and the confiscation of land from white people. This is blatant misinformation about our country. We were most pleased that many organizations, businesses, and individuals from the United States participated in large numbers in G20 related activities such as the Business 20 Summit and the G20 Social Summit. South Africa valued their constructive and enthusiastic participation. Earlier this week, we formally handed over the G20 presidency for 2026 to the United States, observing the appropriate diplomatic protocols. A few days ago, President Donald Trump made a statement to the effect that South Africa would not be invited to participate in the G20 in the United States. He repeated untrue statements about genocide against Afrikaners and the confiscation of land from white people in our country. We must make it clear that South Africa is one of the founding members of the G20, and South Africa is therefore a member of the G20 in its own name and right. We will continue to participate as a full, active, and constructive member of the G20. Despite the challenges and misunderstandings that have arisen between South Africa and the United States, South Africa remains a firm and an unwavering friend of the American people. We recall the great solidarity movement in the United States that stood by our side in our struggle for democracy and freedom. We recall how the Bill of Rights in the United States Constitution inspired us as we wrote our own Constitution. We offer the people of the United States nothing but goodwill and friendship. We affirm our commitment to continue to engage in dialogue with the United States government and to do so with respect and with dignity as equal sovereign countries. We value the United States government and its people as a partner. We have common interests, common values, and a shared wish to advance the prosperity and well-being of the people of both of our countries. As a country, we are aware that the stance taken by the United States administration has been influenced by a sustained campaign of disinformation by groups and individuals within our country, in the United States and elsewhere. These people who are spreading disinformation are endangering and undermining South Africa's national interests, destroying South African jobs, and weakening our country's relations with one of our most important partners. We must remind these people that South Africa is a constitutional democracy with a Bill of Rights that guarantees equality under the law. We have an independent judiciary able to uphold our constitution and defend the rights of all South Africans. We are a country that has a tradition of dialogue, that has an enduring ability to come together to confront the challenges that we face. South African problems must be solved by South Africans themselves. We have now embarked upon a national dialogue where all South Africans from all walks of life, of all races and creeds, are invited to forge a new future for our country. We have determined, in the tradition of Nelson Mandela and other great leaders that have helped to build our nation, that no one must be excluded. Every voice and every perspective must be heard. And as we invite people to participate, we also invite those who are spreading misinformation about our country to bring their concerns and their solutions to the national dialogue. We must never allow others to try to redefine our country and cause divisions amongst us or dictate who we are as a nation. We know who we are. We are South Africans. We are defined by our ability to work together and to find solutions to problems that beset our country. We live together, work together, learn together, laugh together, even play together. We also pray together as we did today during the National Day of Prayer. We also mourn together. We celebrate together and face our challenges together. In the best and worst of times, we have stood together. We must work with greater focus and determination to address the many challenges our country is facing and make our South Africa a peaceful, prosperous, and great nation. And as our sportsmen and women have taught us, we are stronger together, always. The impact of South Africa's G20 extends beyond the warm welcome and the memorable experiences of our visitors. From the outset, we placed Africa's growth and development at the heart of the G20's agenda. We undertook this responsibility at a time when the world is facing complex challenges, from wars and conflicts to rising inequality and the urgent threat of climate change. These challenges cause hardship and suffering across the world. They contribute to slower growth, weak investment, and economic stability. These challenges affect many countries, especially in the global south. Here in South Africa, our people are confronted each day with poverty, unemployment, and the high cost of living, which are made worse by poor service delivery in many areas of our country. It is therefore essential that we work together so that we can attract investment, promote inclusive growth, and create jobs. Through the work we are doing together, we are beginning to see the green shoots of an emerging economic recovery. Unemployment is falling and has been recorded as such in recent months. Our public finances are improving, allowing us to steadily reduce our national debt. We have recently seen a sovereign credit rating upgrade. This progress was recognized in a recent speech by a prominent South African business leader, Mr. Edi Enthoven, who said that after a decade of decline, South Africa has turned the corner. He said our economic trajectory is positive and improving. We are also working together to confront some of our greatest social challenges, such as crime and the violence perpetrated by men against women. Just over a week ago, we classified gender-based violence and femicide as a national disaster. This classification should provide us with a broader range of measures to intensify our shared effort to end this scourge and pandemic. While some fought to create division and polarization between nations, we used our G20 presidency to reinforce our shared humanity. We fostered collaboration and goodwill. We affirmed that our shared goals outweigh our differences. The leaders' declaration adopted at the summit is a clear demonstration that the spirit of multilateral cooperation is alive and strong. The adopted declaration reinforces the importance of the G20 as the premier forum for international economic cooperation and its continued relevance in the face of a rapidly changing global environment. This is particularly important as the G20 represents approximately 85% of the world's GDP, more than 75% of world trade, and also represents around 2/3 of the world's population. We have ensured that this G20 is inclusive and reflects the strength in our diversity. Working with leaders of the G20 countries, we were able to find agreement on actions that will improve the lives of people of South Africa, as they will improve the lives of people of Africa and the world at large. We found agreement on some of the issues that hold back the growth and development of our country and our continent. One of these issues is the national debt that many countries are burdened with. Many countries, especially in Africa, spend more on debt repayments than they do on health and education or infrastructure. The G20 leaders agreed on further mechanisms to provide relief to countries with unsustainable debt levels, to reduce the cost of debt, and to increase affordable financing, especially from international development banks. The G20 leaders recognize that climate change is having the greatest effect on those countries and communities that are most vulnerable. They agreed on increased funding and support for countries to prevent disasters and to rebuild in the wake of devastating climate disasters. There was agreement on increased funding for climate action. This is particularly important for countries like ours as we undertake a just energy transition to a low-carbon economy in a manner that protects workers, businesses, and communities. The G20 leaders also agreed that the critical minerals that the world needs.
PMD offers third-party car insurance that you can trust from as little as 167 Rand.
Needs should benefit those countries and communities where those minerals are found and extracted. There was agreement that countries like South Africa should be able to process and beneficiate the minerals they mine before selling them to other countries as finished products. This will create jobs for our people. The agreements reflected in the G20 Leaders' Declaration are just the beginning. We will continue to advocate for global progress on these and other priorities, building on the foundation laid during our G20 presidency. We will work to advocate and to fight for a more equal world. South Africa commissioned the work of the G20 Extraordinary Committee on Global Inequality that was led by Professor Joseph Stiglitz, which produced the first G20 report on global inequality. The report sets out a clear set of recommendations to address this global challenge. We agreed that we will work with other willing countries to support